Can you hear now? I bet you. I, I had my thing turned off. I had my microphone turned off the whole time. Great. Okay. Anyway, uh, I have to repost this to Facebook. So what I'll do is I'll edit it and yeah, Dan, thanks a lot. There were other people that popped in and out of the stream too, and it would have been nice if somebody would have said something 14 minutes and 25 seconds ago. So thanks for that. Um, so David Shorr, uh, David Shorr is so concerned that yeah, like he's sitting at home, he is doing everything via camera and microphone, just like he did the 2 years during COVID. He can't make it right. It's such a distraction that even like the mayor has to call it out at some point, or not call it out, but address it. He has to address it at some point. David Shore takes issue with this. And he's like, oh my gosh, like my presence has to be there. Like I must be there to say things and take a vote on something that's going to be a unanimous vote anyway. But he's so concerned about this that he is going to just risk exposure to everybody else because he's so important. His vote is so important that he's got to come down there and do it. And again, this is after the guy shuts down your entire life. He's and not that he just supported it, but he was personally responsible for doing this in the city of Stevens Point 2 years ago, shutting down Gerke Field. So Spash had nowhere to play. They had to go play. They didn't have a home field that entire year. They had to go play on other fields. They had to find other places to play where I guess city councils weren't as hysterical as ours. And if I remember right, it was actually a pretty close vote. Like it almost fell 50-50 on that issue. And David Shore fell on the side of, well, we got to be cautious. We got to make sure that we're not killing our grandmothers. But yeah, like after all of that pearl clutching, and after all of the we got to protect ourselves from COVID, after doing this for 2 years and supporting everybody for doing this for 2 years, after the guy publicly says, well, you can't have Corey in the city council because this is not the time for libertarian solutions. We need to pool all of our resources and all of our efforts. Everything he said about COVID turned out to be wrong, by the way, and everything I said about COVID turned out to be right. Let's never mind that for a second. But he's deciding he's going to go ahead and risk exposure to everybody because his vote is so important. David Shore, you are the biggest scumbag on the face of the earth. You are a hypocrite. I know it doesn't matter, like calling these people hypocrites, like it doesn't do anything because they like their entire worldview is constantly shifting with the winds of change. So it doesn't matter. Like he doesn't have any principles that he stands on. So yeah, I just wanted to call him out for being the clown that he is. Again, here is somebody who doesn't like to be the butt of jokes. He's somebody who takes himself very seriously, but he may as well just walk around with a big red nose on his face because David Shore is a clown. He's a clown that's going to shut down your entire life because of COVID. But like if he needs to be there, if he needs to be there in person, he's going to put you all at risk to make sure that he's there. And so even the mayor was like, well, okay, but like I would rather not risk you exposing everybody. And look, frankly, I don't care if he did go down there and expose everybody because like it at this point, everybody has had COVID, including Melissa Johnson and David Shore. Keep getting those boosters, guys. Keep getting them boosters. Like everybody's had it at this point. And it's not something that's big and scary anymore. Uh, Whatever, David Shore. Again, being a hypocrite, being a clown. Those things were the biggest things from city council. The the update on the Justice Center, which wasn't really an update at all, which is sad. Uh, Again, that was the only reason why I watched the city council at all, because I wanted some more information on the Justice Center. I wanted to see where it was going and what the update was, and all it was a big long diatribe, or a big argument in favor of keeping it downtown, an argument being addressed to a city council that's already in favor of keeping it downtown, but also has no authority over where it goes at all. So, you know, it is what it is. I really, the thing that came out of city council, the only thing that came out of city council was Neil Wazinski's pointing out that Melissa Johnson, her campaign is being run by people who are in charge of get out the vote efforts on campus, people who are part of the city student government association. And sketchy, yeah. Illegal, no. But not a lot of upstanding ethics as far as that goes. Yeah, look, but it doesn't matter because these people are always scheming behind the scenes. Nothing is really out in the open. They're never going to answer for any of this. And yeah, like, it doesn't matter to them. Like, the only thing that matters is getting elected to offices within the city and within the county. Because, like I've said before, like, most progressives are just political animals. That's all they are. Like, every aspect of life is political. And because of that, they need to take over every um, political seat that they can get their hands on. So, and they're going to do it by any means necessary. I know a lot of people were calling, vote fraud and stuff after the last presidential elections. And maybe they're what, like, I don't care one way or another. Uh, but it's not it's not outside the realm of possibility, right? Like when you are a purely political animal, you will win by any means necessary. And you are justified in winning by any means necessary because it is your belief system that's going to bring light to the world, right? I've often compared progressivism to like a modern day religious cult, because it really is. There is you have the people that are bringing goodness and light to the world, and you are going to be punished and ostracized if you step outside of that in any way. It is just, I mean, there's so many ways you can compare it to like a modern cult that it's ridiculous. So it's not like, if you're going to accuse them of cheating in like, maybe they do, maybe they don't, it doesn't matter. But accusing them of doing so does absolutely nothing, because that's kind of the game they're playing. Like, they don't care. They don't care if you have issues with them cheating, because you're the bad guy and you need to be swept out of public life. They need to take control over the organs of society in every way that they can, because they're the ones who are going to bring us into the brave new utopia. So, I mean, yeah, like, it is what it is. You just have to recognize it for what it is. I don't fault them for anything that they do, frankly, because, like, I get it. I get it from their perspective, from their mindset. They are at war with you. They don't like you at all. They think that you are backwards and stupid, and they need to come in and change things for the better. So, yeah, it is what it is. So that was city council, but I said I wanted to talk about some of the candidates that are running. So this year there are challengers. It's the odd number of years. So there's challengers in one. There's a challenger in District 1. That's Mark Christensen district. 7 and 9. So there's 3 challengers. Polly Dalton, who was the former council person for District 9, she is no longer doing this. I don't blame her. I liked her as a council person. I thought Polly Dalton was was a really decent person. Obviously I'm not going to agree with a lot of her politics, but like just as a person, she's a good council person. She was definitely fair-minded. She stood up for people. It's sad that she's leaving. Um, but it's only sad if she gets replaced by like one of these crazed progressive people. Uh, Her district it's going to be Keith Kudrowski and Sam Lang. I don't know anything about Sam Lang at all. I do know Keith. You've probably seen him. He shows up to city council meetings and he'll give some rant against the city council, which I like. I want to see more of that. I would love to see that on the city council. So, I'm rooting for Keith here. I hope he can somehow pull it off. I don't know how winnable District 9 is. Uh, I just have no clue. So we'll have to wait until April to find out. But go, Keith. I think it would be hilarious to have him on the city council. And I think it would be nice to finally have people. And I think Tim Johnson, he must be uh, more conservative too, running against Mary Kneebone. I'm neither here nor there with Mary Kneebone. I mean, again, I feel like she just kind of falls into the category of people who just I don't know. They just have such a standard way of looking at things. Like there's nothing really new or interesting or creative. There's not a lot of creative problem solving on the city council. And I think she just kind of falls into that category of, typical standard city council person. Uh, yeah, I don't know. I'm neither here nor there. Like I don't dislike her at all. So it would be interesting to get some new blood. Like I'm just interested in seeing some new blood on the city council. Like I just want to see where we can go with some new people. It'll be interesting. So the only and then there's David Plaisance, the District 6, David Plaisance and John Barron, who like I don't really know anything about these guys. Like David Plaisance has been on there since Ron Carlson resigned. Uh, you know, Probably most of you who follow any of this stuff knows that Ron Carlson was diagnosed with cancer and he had to step down. So uh, this David Plaisance guy got voted in, and it was by majority. So he gets voted in. Like I don't know anything about him. Again, I have not been following any of this stuff since August. I haven't been on Facebook. I haven't been watching any of the city meetings at all. So I really don't know how he votes on things. I just don't have an opinion on him in any way. So District 6 is going to have challengers. District 1, Gracia Day and Mark Christensen. We'll see. Gracia Day. I'm pretty sure she's going into this knowing that there's no chance in hell she's winning District 1. But good for her for stepping up and just just giving people a choice on the ballot. That's when I run, I know, I know I'm not going to win. I want to be there to give people another option on the ballot. And so I give her props for basically doing the same thing, because District 1 is completely unwinnable for anybody who is not endorsed by the board. So like District 2, it's another one of those districts where the Borg will send out their mailers and say, we, the Borg, want you to vote for this, this, and this candidate. And then the Borg members do. Most of them do not know who any of these people are. They're just doing what they're told. I mean, they're good at that, right? We saw this during COVID. All these people did was do what they're told. They never question anything. So expect more of the same here. The only guaranteed newcomer that we will have on the city council is Allison Burr. This is somebody I don't know anything about. It's somebody I can guess is probably okay. Look, so Allison Burr is one of the people who is the admins for the Stevens Point Happening Now. As you all know, Stevens Point Happening Now is like a community front group for the Borg. What I mean by that is it's a group that is set up to promote a certain political ideology, but to do so in a way that's not overt. So on the surface, Stevens Point happening now exists for people to go on there and make themselves heard about certain issues that are going on locally, while at the same time acting as a megaphone for like Borg policies. So the Business 51 referendum is a perfect example of this, where you had people that were constantly posting in favor of the referendum and saying, this is why you need to vote against this. This is horrible. Kevin Flatoff is, pure evil for, daring to stand up to us in this way. If you tried to post anything counter to that, of course, it got deleted. And then the excuse was always, well, according to our rules, we don't want, overtly political divisions going on in our group. That's always so they have their own list of rules, which can be interpreted in any way that they see fit, of course. It's like the YouTube terms of service, or what the Twitter terms of service used to be, or Facebook terms of service, where the rules are vague enough that the admins can basically do whatever they want, and not have to give any excuse or explanation. So we saw that for Business 51, where they would push the one narrative and completely suppress the other narrative. I know when I did that video, which frankly wasn't for or against like anything. Like, the only reason I did it is because I think that the business owner's perspective was being completely left out of the debate, and I wanted to do this little documentary to give them more of a voice. Like, I wasn't saying anything one way or another. I was just basically saying, okay, you guys are against this. Why are you guys against this? Just basically talk to a camera. Um, which was pretty popular, and it did air on some of the local news stations. But anytime anybody tried to share it on that, it was immediately suppressed. Immediately. Like, it got no play whatsoever. They were not having it. So I mean, good on all the people that voted for that. It was pretty funny watching them all melt down at the next council meeting after that occurred. But again, Allison Burr is part of this. Okay, she's part of the people that are suppressing like counter information, or she's part of the group that's doing this. I'm not saying she's personally doing this. I'm saying she's part of the group that does this. So that's the first thing we know about it. Like, I looked at her Facebook page to try and see where she's coming from. Like, what are her ideas? What is she going to be bringing to the city council? Again, she's the only one that's guaranteed to get to the city council. So I'm curious most about her. First of all, her Facebook page is named Friends of Allison Burr. Immediate red flag, because all of the people who are part of the Borg Biddy cabal, the Borg Biddies, which include Melissa Johnson, Tori Jennings, Mary McComb, and their ilk, like, they all call their campaign pages friends of blah, 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 blah. So immediately, just with the title alone, red flag. You look through there, and it's like she doesn't post any of her opinions on anything at all, which again is another red flag for somebody who's running for city council. A lot of these people don't do that. Like David Shorr, he's always very careful not to say too much when he's running for political office. And you see that a lot with political candidates. The ones who are running doomed campaigns, like myself, we had like, well, okay, even if I had a legitimate chance though, like, I would still tell you straight up, this is what I believe. These are the principles I stand on. This is what, I want to represent on city council. But you don't get that from Allison Burr at all. And, I've looked at her page. I'm not finding that. So it's a wait and see situation. But the other thing I wanted to say about that is she's replacing Melissa Johnson on the council. I do not for 2 seconds think that This is just by happenstance. I think she was probably, again, I'm saying this because Melissa Johnson's such a political animal. She's not just going to step away from her position on council without having somebody that she can kind of install behind her that is going to be receptive to her working behind the scenes. And I think that's who Allison Burr is. I think this is the person that was handpicked by these people to come in and take the place of Melissa Johnson. Melissa Johnson certainly had a hand in picking her. So take that for what it is. If you don't like Melissa Johnson at all, probably you're not going to like Allison Burr, because I think she is going to be the front for a lot of, or anything that Melissa Johnson wants to push. Now, that basically that's all I can assume about Allison Burr. Um, well, I mean, besides the fact that she's spending a lot of money on her campaign, which she doesn't have to at all. On her page, said she's mailing out postcards. That's a couple $100. She bought signs. There's another couple $100 that, she's like, hey, do you want, this is all stuff on her page where she's like, yeah, why don't you come and get a sign, and just wait, I'm mailing out postcards. So I guess we'll find out maybe more about what she intends to do. Uh, Individually. Oh, I say individually kind of as a joke, because if you're part of the Borg, there's no individual, there's only the collective. So, uh, like, I don't mean individually, I mean as one person who's representing the collective of the Borg. But yeah, I mean, the fact that she's just willing to just blow money on a campaign that doesn't matter at all, uh, lets me think that she's going to be a very good replacement for Melissa Johnson. Because Melissa Johnson certainly never seemed to have any qualms about spending money constantly. Uh, and given that the city is pretty far in debt by like millions and millions of dollars, kind of a problem. So hopefully she can be talked out of it. Hopefully she'll have more restraint when it comes to spending city money like that. I'm not going to count on it. It is what it is. It's a wait and see situation. We'll see. Like, I can make guesses about who she is based on uh, everything I know about the situation. But until she gets in and starts casting votes, there's no way to really tell. Oh, and the other thing was, or the other clue was that a lot of the people that seem to be excited about her campaign are a lot of the bad people in Stevens Point. And by bad people, I mean the very bigoted progressives in Stevens Point, the people who, if they even whiff that somebody is going to run against them, they will just go all out and immediately start throwing around racist and like evil and, yeah, like the usual stuff, Nazi, whatever, the stuff that they always throw out. So the people who did a lot of that are people who are supportive of Allison Burr, and that's another indication that she is really just going to be another Melissa Johnson, if not worse. I don't know. Uh, we'll just see. We'll see if she's as politically savvy as Melissa Johnson is. And while Melissa Johnson is really not that politically savvy, I know she likes the game. She likes to play it. But I wouldn't say she's super great at it. The mayor race. So Melissa Johnson is not going to step away from her city council seat unless she thought she had a chance at becoming mayor, stepping up. I personally hope that doesn't happen, because I think she's going to be a very activist mayor. And I mean activist in a very bad way, like an activist that's not going to help or improve life in the city of Stevens Point. I think she has a certain idea for what she wants, and like she's going to push this down your throat, whether you like it or not. I do think she's that kind of person. I think she's definitely the kind of person who's going to pretend to listen and pretend to care, because she does have this kind of pretentiousness to her, where she tries to exude that. But I mean, there's really nothing there, and you can see right through it. But the mayor, on the other hand, Mayor Wiesa, he tends to be, hands off. And look, I get it. People are like, oh, he says one thing to one person, one thing to, like, I don't care what he's doing behind the scenes. Okay. I don't really care what he's saying to people. I don't really care if you think he comes off as like a chameleon or whatever. I don't care. What I do care is that he doesn't sit on city council and try to push agendas. Okay. He's very hands off as far as that goes. Wonderful. I like that. I don't want somebody who's going to come in there and try to push agendas, and especially somebody who is very well known for um, just needlessly spending money on things. Look, Melissa Johnson tried to do this again at the finance committee last week. I did watch that. I'm not going to talk about it here, but she tried she tried doing that again. And I feel like if she gets into office, it's just going to be constantly nickeling and diming uh the treasurer until what? Until we have to go into even more debt that we're already into. I don't like it. I don't like where it's going. And hopefully the primary results will are an indication of how things are going to go. I think Melissa Johnson took this opportunity because she sensed blood in the water, and she thought this was her time to run. Like I don't know why necessarily. Whatever she's saying publicly about what she's deciding to run, whatever about. Oh well, I mean, you can look at her signs. Better together. All the stupid slogans that you hear from the progressives all the time. Um, I'm guessing if she said anything publicly about why she's running, it's to make sure that Stevens Point is a very loving and inclusive place to be, and how everybody, we want to be able to get along here and be neighborly and blah blah blah. I don't know, I'm guessing, but I guarantee it would be something along those lines. Um, like I don't buy it. I don't buy it at all. Yeah, but the mayor, I think, got enough hate from the referendum stuff from the Borg. And you saw this where these people just showed up and they were like Carrie Ryan, especially, she's a pretty committed Borg member, and she was very, very angry with how the mayor handled the whole referendum thing. And apparently there were a lot of people who thought that he should have come out and tried to convince everybody of why voting for the referendum was wrong. That was basically their argument. Th- they wanted him to inform people better because people are dumb and they need a strong leader to come in and tell them how to vote. And the mayor didn't do that. And they took issue with that. Of course, it never dawns on them, well, maybe you were wrong about the whole thing. Maybe your perception of the entire situation was absolutely wrong. It was, by the way. And we made our case better than they made their case. And you didn't see us showing up and being angry with the mayor that he didn't take our side. Well, we only won by 31 votes. Mayor, what's wrong with you? How come you didn't come out and tell people how to vote? We should have won by 300 votes at least. It's all so stupid. But look, if Melissa Johnson is the next mayor, you can be sure that she will be there as a mouthpiece for the Borg. You can absolutely guarantee it. She is very talkative. She spends a lot of time in these meetings giving her opinions or just talking when she doesn't need to talk. Like the December meeting, December of 2022 or 2021, prior to, she went on like, after all the business people went up and they were like, please don't vote, or please vote to allow this to go to referendum. At least give the people the some kind of say on Business 51. Um, and did she hear any of those people? Of course not. Because after they all got done speaking, she went on a 15-minute rant. And this is in the video I did, by the way, because I was so appalled by it that I just had to make fun of her. But she just went on this 15-minute rant, thanking this person and thanking this person and thanking Dave Obey of all people. Like, what are you doing, lady? Like, you're literally just wasting time. And these meetings, if they aren't tedious enough to watch, are going to get 10 times worse if she's the mayor. The mayor always has his little spiel right in the beginning of the meetings, but he usually keeps them short. Like, they're usually under, right around 5 minutes or so. Melissa Johnson, if she is allowed to do this for every meeting, it's going to be an hour and a half before the meeting even starts. So whatever. Like, obviously, I'm going to support Mayor Wiesa. Like, I'm going to vote for him. And again, like, for all of Melissa Johnson's failings, it really comes down to, I just want a mayor who's going to be hands off with this stuff. Okay, that's what I want. I don't want an activist mayor. I don't need a mayor coming in and telling me what's best for my life. I cannot stand when politicians do that. And I feel like she's going to be that person. Um, However, in the primary, I did vote for Craig Tesh. I mean, the reason for that was just because, like, I knew the mayor had the primary in the bag. Like, I didn't think there was any question. Sure enough, when you saw the results, he won by just about 50%, which I was frankly blown away by. I thought for sure he was going to, come in number one, but by almost 50%, like, that shocked even me. But anyway, I knew he was going to do fine in the primary, so I did vote for Greg Tesh because I was hoping at least to get a Wiesa Tesh uh, um, runoff. But even though I knew, let's face it, Melissa Johnson was going to win, whatever. I still voted for the guy, hoping he would win, um, and get to face off against the mayor. Whatever, wishful thinking, didn't happen. I tried, but yeah. So it's going to be, and I'm sure we'll talk more about this as time goes on. Now that the primary's over, I am really curious to see how this plays out over the next month and a half. Well, like, month and a week, whatever. How this plays out in the media, how this plays out at city council meetings, because that Melissa Johnson's going to use any public appearance, again, because she's a political, you gotta think like a political animal if you really want to understand how some of these people operate. But you can bet she's going to use a lot of these meetings, like the committee meetings and stuff upcoming, uh, to really establish her, or really not really establish herself, but just make stands on things, on various issues that can kind of set her apart, and uh, give her give her play in the media, whether it's the Point Journal or the Metro Wire. Probably more the Metro Wire. Like, Point Journal, like, just if you're doing anything with public office, just stay away from those people. Like, they don't even deal with public issues or local issues. So, the Metro Wire is going to be, but I'm guessing she's going to be looking for media play on, how great she is, taking some policy stances that are going to be favorable to the Borg. She's going to do a lot of signaling, I guess is what I'm trying to say. She's going to do a lot of public signaling to her people that, they really need to get out and support her. And, again, I, I don't hate, any of these people. Like, I don't hate Melissa Johnson at all. She's fine as a person. I'm just trying to evaluate this based on like, the objective politics that I'm sure she's going to try to play. But whatever. I mean, it is what it is. It's going to be a fun race. I'm going to be watching this very closely now that I'm getting back into this. This is the perfect time to do it because this is where all the good drama happens. So anyway, I think that's all I had to say. Go Keith. I'm rooting for you, buddy. I just think it's going to be hilarious if he ever gets on city council. It would be hilarious to see what he's going to do with that position. So good for him. David Shorr, you're such a clown. Uh, I can't believe you were willing to kill everybody at the city council meeting with your COVID because you think you're so important that you had to cast a vote or you had to make your opinions heard on an issue that was going to unanimously pass anyway. You clearly support killing people, obviously. David Shorr supports killing people. Let's end on that. All right, guys. I will do this again next week. I will be back. I will be better set up and I will have the audio. I will have the audio set up this time. Thank you, Dan, for letting me know that there was no audio here. I'll do better next time. I'm sorry, guys. I'll have a better camera set up next time, too. I really rushed to get this thing set up. I should have been more prepared. I'm sorry. Okay. I'm ending this. Later, guys. See you next Saturday, 10 o'clock. We'll do it again. Later.